Hey everyone, welcome back to Taste Kitchen by Aldi. I'm Ian Haste and today I'm going to show you how to do a super easy, creamy mushroom and leek risotto. So for ingredients, we've got a whole finely diced onion, we've got around 50 grams of butter, we've got 300 grams of long grain rice, we've got some parmesan, we're going to grate that over the top, it's going to give it that beautiful creamy texture afterwards. We've got some leeks and mushrooms, which are often featured as part of the Aldi Super 6. We've got some fresh thyme, we're going to use one of the sprigs and drag that in for the extra full body flavour. We've got some brandy, some double cream, some vegetable stock, and we're just going to add that into it to give it that beautiful rich flavour. First up, you want to get a pan up to heat. Now remember not to have this in too high a heat, have it at a low heat first of all. To your pan, you're going to add a little bit of your double cream. And while that's coming up to temperature, we're just going to top and tail a leek, cut that down the middle, and with the flat side facing down, we're just going to chop through. While that's coming up to heat, I'm just going to add a splash of water just to make sure that's thinned down, and we can go in with our leeks. So rather than browning that off, we're actually just sweating them down slowly with the cream, reducing it down, which means you get all that sweetness and flavour through there. Into that, just a small pinch of salt and pepper, just bring down the heat. And while that's simmering away, we can get our second pan up to heat as well, again on a low heat. Into that, we're going to add 50 grams of butter. Right, that's started to melt down, so we're going to go in with our onion. You don't want to hear that sizzling because you don't want that to brown off. You want it to really sweat down. Again, with our onions, we're just going to lightly season that again with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and just keep that moving all the time. Now it's up to you what variety of mushrooms you want to use. Today I'm going to be using chestnut. Just slice these in half and just small slithers. Doesn't have to be too perfect. It can be quite rustic with this sort of dish because they're going to sweat down anyway. You can start adding the mushrooms to the onions. So the mushrooms have started to go soft. Right, we're going to go in with our shot of brandy. Now it's important with this, you can change that out for white wine if you want to. If you don't want to use any alcohol, just leave it out completely. I'm going to go with our rice. So we're just toasting off the rice just slightly. So we're going to add our leeks and cream. And to that, we're going to add a splash of our stock. I'd recommend sort of like 100 to 200 millilitres at a time. Now it's important with adding your stock with these type recipes is to add a little and often and let it reduce and sweat down and then add another cup load, for instance. Reason being is the rice itself is going to be releasing starch, which means you're going to get that lovely creamy finish to the dish. So keep that moving. As you can see, it's absorbed most of that liquid again, which means we can go in with another little dash of our stock. The risotto is the perfect 20 to 25 minute, sort of someone drops into your house and you need to whip up a quick dish. It's usually made with all the ingredients that you have in your cupboard anyway. If you're a meat eater, by all means add bacon to this. If you're more of a veggie, add more broccoli, for instance. So we're going to go in with our thyme. I'm going to use a couple of sprigs of this and just going to drag down the back of the stalk. It's quite a woody herb, so you don't want any of that stem in there. Right, you can see it's starting to get really creamy, and that's the starch coming out of the rice. So again, a little bit more stock. With dishes like this, it's all about patience. Don't whack the heat up at this point. Just keep it low, bubbling away, and all come together perfectly. To make this extra rich, just going to grate some parmesan over the top and stir that through. So there we go, there's my super simple mushroom and leek risotto. We're just going to finish that off with just a little bit of parmesan over the top, and finally just a little bit of fresh parsley just to give it a little bit of garnish. And don't forget to check out your local Aldi for this week's Super 6 offers.